Hello everyone, welcome to the 19th episode of Cooking with Chef Aaron. This time, we are going to be setting foot in Central Western Europe as we explore the country of Germany. Now, this country was kindly requested to me by James Hinnecke, my father. As always, thank you once again for your request. I'd like to give a big shout out to you, and I hope to receive more requests from other people sometime soon. Okay, so I'm going to start this review off by talking about the largest and capital city, which is Berlin. And this city looks pretty nice. As you can see here, you can see the Berlin Tower, this big tall skinny tower. It kind of looks like the CN Tower in this photo. And also you can see this Berlin Cathedral. It looks very similar to kind of what you would see in Uzbekistan. Now, Germany, the city of Berlin, kind of reminds me of Tashkent. It's like the Tashkent of Europe, which is the capital of Uzbekistan. And it's very similar. The only difference is that Uzbekistan has sort of like a hotter, like more desert climate, whereas Germany is sort of like a northern hemisphere climate. It's mostly has like green vegetation, kind of similar to what other countries you would see in the northern hemisphere as well. But I really like this city, though I don't really think it's quite as good as Uzbekistan because it's not quite as futuristic, and that's what I've got to say about it. So now I'm going to shift my attention over to the second largest city in Germany, which is Hamburg. And this is also a pretty interesting city because this building right here, it looks very similar to Big Ben. You can kind of see that it looks similar to a clock tower. It's the same type of style. It's the same type of architecture as what you would find in London. And the buildings that are attached to the big tower look like the British House of Commons, like the exterior, because you can see that it's sort of pointy in the same way, and then the design is all like elegant in the same way. It's kind of like that. And also, if you take a look at these photos right here, you can see that there's a little bit of an Italian influence, because you can see that off to the right-hand side, you can see sort of like they're sort of like circular outside the buildings, like right over the sheltered area right there. And as you can see on the left, on this next photo, you can see like a bridge, kind of similar to what you would see in like Venice in Italy. And I also find this is an interesting city as well. Okay, so I'm going to shift my attention over to the city of Munich, which is the third largest city in the country. And this city is also nice, though I wouldn't really say it is as intriguing as the other two cities, because it's colorful and all, but the buildings don't really stand out as much, and their architecture isn't very tall. It's just mostly a simple and standard architecture, like kind of what you would see in like a hometown or kind of like a village or something like that, but it's just a standard architecture. I don't really have a lot to say about it, but it's still a pretty good city. Okay, so the last city I want to talk about is Frankfurt. And this city is also pretty nice, because this is where we start to get introduced to buildings that somewhat resemble gingerbread houses, because as you can see in the photos here, they're all nice and colorful. They look like the types of gingerbread houses you kind of decorate at Christmas time, sort of, except there's no Christmas decorations, of course, but you kind of get what I mean. Like, they're like sort of like colorful gingerbread houses. And if we look at this part of the city, you can see that it kind of looks a little bit like Toronto with its futuristic looking architecture here. And except I don't think this city is really as good as Toronto. I think Toronto is more futuristic in my opinion. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the rural parts of Germany, and the atmosphere looks very similar to that of Kyrgyzstan, because as you can see, there's a lot of icy mountains here. The only difference being is that Germany has more of a green, spring-like feel, whereas Kyrgyzstan has sort of like a more of an autumn type feel, because the vegetation is more brown, whereas here in Germany it's more green. And as you can see by this landscape right here, it's sort of like of a little lake, I guess you could say, in a forest. And as you can see, there's a little bridge across. There's sort of like a log bridge, tree bridge, kind of, and it kind of gives off like a circular motion. As you can see here, in this reflection in the water, you can kind of see that it's shaped like a circle, which looks pretty cool. It's a pretty fascinating place to visit in Germany. Never been there myself, but it would be nice to go there one day. Okay, so overall, I would say that I'd probably have to give the country of Germany a B+. I mean, it's not too fascinating in my opinion, but it's still a pretty good country. So now, without further ado, let's head down to my kitchen. I'll show you how to make the Konigsberg meatballs. Follow me, please. Okay, so in order to make the Konigsberg meatballs, the ingredients you'll need are as follows. We have over here 500 grams of meat, and over here we have 1/3 cup of diced onion, and we have one onion that's been cut to a julienne here. And over here we have 1 cup of breadcrumbs, 1 egg and 1 egg yolk. And over here we have 1 liter of water. And in that little container we have a 1/4 teaspoon of allspice and 2 peppercorns and 1 bay leaf. And we have 50 milliliters of cream, 1/8 cup of butter, 1/4 cup of flour, and over here we have some sugar, some lemon juice, some salt, pepper, and some mustard. And we're going to get started right now. Okay, so to start, we're going to make a mass of meat, and to this we're going to add the onion, so like that. And we're also going to add the breadcrumbs. And we're also going to add the egg, along with the individual yolk as well. And to this we're going to add a little bit of mustard. So we'll just squirt a little mustard in here, like that, and that should be good. Okay, so once that's done, we're going to mix this all around like this. And we just want to make sure everything is nicely incorporated. So we're just going to mix this for a while, and afterwards we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take this mixture of meat, and we're just going to make these little small meatballs. We're going to roll them like this. Then we're just going to place them onto our plate. And I'm just going to keep doing this until we're all out of meat. Okay, so once you've made your meatballs, they should look something like this. Don't let you look nice. So in a separate pot, what we're going to do is we're going to take this water, we're going to pour it all into here. And to this, we're going to add our julienne onions. And we are also going to add our spices with our bay leaf, as well as the salt. And what this does is it gives the meatballs some good extra flavor. Okay, and we're just going to let this all boil for a little while. Okay, so once your water has been boiled, what we're going to do now is we're going to add the meatballs. So one at a time, I'm just going to put these all in here, like this. And I'm going to add all the meatballs, and they're just going to let them cook for 20 minutes. So just like this. Okay, so now once you've cooked your meatballs for 20 minutes, they should be all nice and brown. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take these out like this. We're just going to place them on this plate. As you can see, it's all nice and beautiful. And I'm just going to keep doing this until all the meatballs have been removed from the pot. Okay, so once you've taken all your meatballs out, what we're going to do is we're going to take this broth and we're going to strain it into this little bowl. So just like that. And afterwards we'll move on to the next step. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make a roux in this small little saucepan. So here's our butter. And to this I'm going to add my flour a little bit at a time. So just a little bit of flour like this. I'm just going to get my whisk. I'm going to stir it all around. Just continue the process. Okay, so I'm just going to continue mixing the flour in like this. And once this is all combined, we will add our cream. Okay, so once your flour and butter have been mixed, we're going to add the cream now. Okay, so we've added the cream now, and we're just going to mix this all together. And afterwards we will add the broth. Okay, so we're just going to add the broth to the mixture now. And just like before, we're going to mix this all together. And we just have to let this all simmer for about 20 minutes. Okay, so now once you've simmered your sauce, it should look something like that. So I'm going to add my seasonings now. I have some lemon juice. And I have a little bit of sugar. And I have a little bit of salt. Make sure it's all evenly coated, that's good. And I have a little bit of pepper. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my whisk and I'm just going to mix it all around. And afterwards we will serve this with meatballs and I'll do a taste test. Okay, let's see what I think of this. Okay, let's see what I think of this. These are very good. These taste a lot like a meatloaf. You can taste all the onions very well as some of the egg and the spices. It's very good. It's really good. Okay, so as you can see, we've served our meatballs with the sauce, and this is our finished product. Thank you for watching.